Welcome to the show, trader friends. It is the 2nd of March, and what a day to be doing this with. Of course, Chris Beecham here to the fore, talking about the latest from what we saw at the weekend. Welcome.
Good morning.
Morning. This is, of course, first and foremost, a human tragedy. Morning to everyone that's joining in right now. What were you doing when...
waking up, essentially, like a lot of people, I think.
Saw the first headlines.
Yeah, waking up. It was a push notification from the Times, I think it was. Nobody expected it, I think, and from the reports, it was very much everyone's together in the same room.
Yeah.
Let's go now.
I think it was Chris when he sent a private message to Axel and myself when I was opening the dishwasher. It went bing, and I saw this. It started. And it certainly has. Taking a look at the instant impact right now at the moment, because of course everyone is starting to really delve deeper into the details of sea of red out there early on. Of course, this could rumble on for some time. Taking a look as well at the commodity side of things, of course. No surprise there?
No, oil prices up sharply across the board. And it was originally slightly more muted, I think it has to be said. Oil prices are 9% higher, pushing on natural gas, obviously a big move as well. Relatively, I say muted. I think you would expect this kind of move. I think any suggestion of sort of $90, $100 was excessive for now. But then as we were coming in this morning, there's been reports that, well, not reports, a drone has struck one of the largest refineries in Saudi Arabia. So after, if you couldn't just pop on the chart, you'll see, of course, you had the initial move last night. It gapped higher and then it came back down again. And now it's moving back up again as that news begins to filter through. And I think, of course, with the initial move last night, everyone was watching the 11 o'clock open for indices or 10 o'clock for FX. You get the first moves, but it looks like with the next stage really now when it comes to moves.
Yeah, and insurers are, according to CNBC, raising prices for tankers transiting the Strait of Hormuz, which of course will have a knock-on impact on energy prices. We are also waiting on a lot of news coming through from some important vote important vote later on. I don't know the time, Chris. I don't know whether you've got a time for this, but Congress, of course, aiming to vote on war powers resolution in the
No, I hadn't
coming week.
seen. I know they're speaking to Congress today because they are quite angry that they haven't been told, I think, so I have to check on that.
Thousands of flights have also been cancelled, of course, out of the Middle East, but we're seeing ramifications elsewhere too. Just checking in on some of the the hard commodities, the precious metals there. Gold up 2.4%. And also silver up more than 2% there.
So naturally, this has retraced most of that move from late January, of course, and early February, those big downward moves, which we had, the sharp losses that took us down to 4,500. We're now not quite back to where we were. Certainly for silver, there's a long way to go, as you'd expect. But for gold, essentially, I think we're essentially almost back to where we were. But silver, quite a bit of upside left on that one. But you can expect maybe a rerun of this to an extent now, because obviously we're dealing with very much known unknowns, I think, at this point. It's, as Trump said over the weekend, this could be a 4-week campaign. We have time. There are plenty of things to watch, really.
Of course, all this depends as well on what happens with sales and the like, because we have heard the Iranian side saying that, what is the key word here? Those have been alerted elsewhere around the world. Of course, no one knows, what sort of how they might hit back or what form that might take. So it's really wait and see here whilst we see this play out on the markets. Even platinum and palladium heading higher. Taking a look at watch lists that I've built for times specifically like this as well. Taking a look at the energy scope there, just to give you a broad outline of what we're seeing on some individual movers. Of course, Shell punching higher there, 5.7%. BP also roofing more than 6% there. Total, similar story there. Equinor, energy pathways as well. What else are you looking out for, Chris?
Yeah, oil prices, of course, will drive these, watch these oil names, and when the US opens this afternoon. So yeah, BP and Shell up 6%. Endeavour Mining up 4.7%, the FTSE 100. Babcock, which is defence, Fresnillo, and then you've got a bit of Safe Haven bid as well, who are National Grid and SSE, although they were also in the news this morning with some corporate updates on energy pricing. So those are the movers today.
Don't fret, all of you, if you're kind of thinking, oh, well, I haven't put my limit order in, I haven't been watching this, I've missed it completely, I've been unpacking somewhere in Spain, or I've been moving, because, there is always the US markets. When that opens, you can get involved then. But having a look here at my watch lists, that's why I split it up into two. You've got European defence there, and we've also got US defence for a bit later on. So it's really useful. You can build all these watch lists on the IG platform. Please don't send me emails. I wish I got £1 every time I got this, but these are not available on the IG platform. These are the ones that I've built, but you can, I can send you snapshots of that if you wish. Also looking at agriculture and fertilizers, because, don't forget that area could potentially give you some gains as well. And shipping.
Yes.
Let's have a look at Hapag, actually.
They will be key to watch. The straits are not officially closed. I think the reason why the tankers aren't crossing it so much is because essentially the insurers have said you can't go through. The insurance has been held up until terms are reassessed. Need for additional protection, as you might expect. So that is why those tankers are not yet moving. I know there's some reports that Iran has officially closed the waterway, but that does not seem to be the case at the moment. The guy you want to watch for this is Javier Blas at Bloomberg, who's the energy correspondent, who's very good on this. So he's the one I'm following on social media.
Hapag is up 3.4% there, and the others that one should keep an eye on too is I really want to check on Kinetic, because I know quite a few of the very good people there, and they are important because, as you have seen or if you've been following what's been happening, a lot of drones and a company that is at the forefront of anti-drone technology is Kinetic. They build the Dragonfire. They build the big mast that you can put in front of ships that can take out these drones at sea or in warfare such as this. Also, not forgetting, let's check in on the likes of BAE Systems as well.
Defence across the board really high. Rheinmetall up 5% as well. So it's
Here we are.
yeah,
Up almost 8% there. So quite a big day. What is your day looking like? What are you doing after this, Chris?
well, I think we'll just be playing catch up really. There's so much reading to be done on what happens next. So I think you've seen obviously the surge in volatility. You've seen the surge in oil prices. It might calm in the short term, but this is a very fluid situation. It's almost hard to stress how unprecedented is a word that gets bandied around a lot. This is. We've talked about the Straits of Hormuz closing. Everyone has to find the Straits of Hormuz on the map first. But this is, we are now in that world, and we have to wait and see how markets react. Of course, US production of oil is so much higher than it would have been, say, 20 years ago. So I think that's muting some of the move in oil. You've had an OPEC production increase, although as a lot that has to come out the Strait of Hormuz, it's not having that much of an impact in the short term. But yes, you are seeing a lot of volatility here. So whatever you're trading, whatever you're doing, it needs to make sure you have your risk management in place. And that sounds trite and obvious, but I think it's until it happens, you don't really understand how quickly this stuff can move around. You have indices down multiple hundreds. We could be looking at 4 digits on the Dow today. Really, we're down 700 points. It wouldn't take very much of a shove to take us through 48,000, down 1,000 points. So this is the kind of world we are now living in for the time being. There is enough going on today. Anyway, we have ISM PMI at 3 p.m. today. It is Jobs Week as well on Friday. That has rather been...
Oh my goodness, that's rolled around really quickly.
Yeah, shoved back down the agenda. But it's still happening. So there is plenty of moving parts this week.
We have a time that's just come through. We've got Hegseth's press conference at 1300 GMT today. Also, keep an eye on, of course, the what gets said about the halted peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. I mean, Russia must be just watching all this thinking this is a prime opportunity if it did want to do anything, because it's just such chaos out there at the moment.
So it's just IAG shares, they are down 13, they were down 13% on the open. Just wiped out all the gains made since November there for IAG. Comes just after they hit, of course, a record high on Friday following their results. So that's taking a nasty move. Airlines, Lufthansa down as well by a similar amount in early trading, I'm seeing.
Yeah. And similar to that as well, initially they get hit. To any luxury analyst, this is a buying opportunity. So you'll see early impact, which is follows a trend. Luxury stocks all in the red there. I will certainly be looking at picking up some Hermes today. Also checking across the board, we have some house builders there down lower. Taking a look at some of the, of course, the miners. And if you don't, you're not in time to take advantage of that, don't forget we've got the US session and the Canadian session. Lots of gold miners are listed in the US and, of course, Canada as well, Toronto to be specific. But yes, it's going to be a very interesting day, and it's one of those events where it could come to a halt, as we've seen before, but it has the ability to rumble on. We've just had President Ursula von der Leyen also saying there might be a press conference later today. Flights, just had a message from one of our colleagues, Jess, that her flight from Australia has been turned back in midair. So if you are traveling, friends, best to check with your airport before you head there, because there could be disruptions.
So not seeing losses accelerate. Well, DAX down 24,664. you have to wait to see how this settles, I think, today. But it feels like there is the constant drumbeat of news. People are likely to maintain this sort of risk-off move across markets for the time being. And it is a long time since we've had, I say, a proper sell-off in that sense, really, across the whole swathe of global stock markets. It's been rather contained, particularly with AI, but it does feel like very much a general move across all indices this morning. Keep an eye on that.
Speaking of AI, European chips and semiconductor companies and suppliers shares down between 2.5% and 5% there. Just checking in on Delivery Hero as well, because earlier today I saw that it had a cut, I believe that's right. The Stifle cut its target price to 21 from 23 euros there. So I know some of you have positions on that, but really across the board, we've got airlines down, metals and miners up generally, defense of course up, and energy also racing higher. Right, I am back on the quadruple espresso, I've decided.
Yeah.
For a day like today.
I think this kind of morning is justified.
Yes.
So I think we'll see a lot of that.
Let's see, what else is moving out there that might have been missed?
I'll tell you what isn't particularly moving. Bitcoin isn't particularly moving, which is on the news itself. It did sell off and then come back again. It was relatively unchanged yesterday, and it's still hovering around 66,000. You can see it sort of sideways price action since the beginning of the month. Sorry, the beginning of last month. I forget, we're in March now. Not really catching a bid either way, not selling off, but it's not really reversed in a sense. So any safe haven buying going to the dollar, Swiss franc, Japanese yen, that kind of thing, and bonds as well. Just keeping an eye with indices, just still very much US futures off those. So you could see maybe a little bit of a bounce on the open for the US, but the sort of bias is probably to the downside, I think it's safe to say, really.
Yeah, watch out for the tech related stocks and chips.
Yes, they are, of course, down across the board. So Tesla down 3%, Nvidia down 2%, Meta, Amazon, Apple not so much affected. I don't quite know why, but there we go.
Right, and on that note, do let us know what you are investing in, what you're looking at today, whether any of your limit orders have been hit, and please hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know what you're doing today, because I'm very curious. Put them down here. Any questions to myself and Chris, please send them to ask@ig.com and I will get them answered for you, and it'll be great as well to see you in the community chat later on. Phil is definitely back. So if you're wondering about that, he is back from his brief foray into the Pokemon world, although he wanted to remind everyone he wasn't actually playing Pokemon.
That's all right, we don't judge.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys in a bit. Whatever you're doing, may you stack the odds in your favor.